Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I'm seriously thrilled you're here today. We are going to explore this incredibly refreshing, really grounded way of looking at confidence, all based on a fantastic piece called The Architecture of Humble Self-Worth. Let's be real. If you've ever felt like the modern world's version of confidence is a little, I don't know, fragile or just totally exhausting to keep up with, you are in the exact right place. We're going to completely tear down and rebuild how we understand what it means to actually be secure in who we are.
So I really want you to ask yourself, what builds true self-worth? Like, really think about it for a second. Do you ever feel like the usual achievement-obsessed kind of confidence? The kind where you constantly have to prove to everyone how smart or successful or flawless you are? Does that just feel utterly exhausting sometimes? Because we live in a world that basically screams at us to hide our flaws and act like we're always 100% certain. But what if the actual foundation of self-worth isn't built on perfection at all? What if it's built on something entirely different? Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Redefining True Humility. So the text defines humility as identifying that you are ignorant in certain areas, accepting that you have weaknesses, and acknowledging you are vulnerable in many ways. Now, I want to be super clear about this. Humility isn't about making yourself small, right? It's not about downplaying your talents or faking that you aren't good at things. Actually, it's the simple, firm acceptance of what you just don't know. It's about looking right at your own limitations without flinching. Let's actually break this down a bit more, because the source text gives us a literal roadmap here. It starts with identifying your ignorance in certain areas, which then allows you to accept your weaknesses. Once you do that, you can acknowledge your vulnerabilities and ultimately, and this is key, accept that you simply don't know a lot of things in this world. Seriously, just feel the weight of those words for a second. Feel that profound relief in just accepting human limitation. You don't have to know it all. You are absolutely allowed to be vulnerable. And that brings us to this brilliantly simple but honestly profound sentence from the text. What you know is what you know already. I absolutely love this. Let that sink in. I mean, if you spend your entire life desperately defending what you already know, you're just trapped in a static state, aren't you? Defending your current intellect doesn't make you grow. It literally just keeps you exactly where you are. Instead, the text points us toward this incredibly active, empowering step. True humility is your ability to allow yourself to learn what you don't know. See, this is where humility stops being some passive, quiet trait and becomes this massive engine for personal growth. By actually acknowledging your ignorance, you are quite literally opening the door to new understanding. You're giving yourself permission to just be a student of life again. Which leads right into this beautifully poetic phrase, your ability to rectify your existing intellect. Now, to rectify basically means to set right or to correct. So the author is telling us that staying open to correcting your own mind, updating your mental software when you realize you were wrong or maybe just uninformed, is exactly what makes you feel better. The act of correction itself is what actually improves your self-worth. It's really not about being right all the time. It's about being willing to become right. So how does this actually play out in our day-to-day lives? Well, the text urges us, don't create false narratives around your weaknesses. Basically, stop making excuses. Stop pretending that a glaring vulnerability is actually some sort of hidden strength. Come on, we've all done that kind of mental gymnastics, right? Instead, the author says we have to live with them and handle them properly to become a little bit better. So here is my challenge to you. Stop creating false narratives just to protect your ego. Start handling your vulnerabilities properly. Because honestly, that honest management is what builds real strength. All right, moving on to section 2, rethinking true self-esteem. Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between the myth and the reality of self-esteem. Look, society constantly tells us that self-esteem is about having immense respect towards yourself, for your strengths and for your achievements. But think about it. What happens when you fail? What happens when someone else is stronger or achieves more than you? That kind of self-esteem just shatters completely. The reality presented here is totally different. True self-esteem is the ability to accept that you are human and you would err and fail. It's entirely human-centric, not achievement-centric. Let's firmly lock in this new definition. According to the text, true self-esteem is the ability to accept your human errors, gaps, and vulnerabilities, learn from your mistakes, and this is the crucial part, have the strength to lead a worthy life. Did you notice what's missing there? There's literally no mention of winning, no mention of dominating others or being flawless. True self-esteem absolutely requires you to accept that you have gaps, period.
I want to walk you through this really clear progression of growth the author lays out. It starts right at the baseline of the human condition. Step 1, you err, fail, and make mistakes. Then, step 2, you don't hide from it, you extract the lesson and learn from those mistakes. And because you've learned, you hit step 3. You have the strength to lead a worthy life. This just proves that a healthy self-esteem isn't built in spite of our failures, guys. It's built directly on the foundation of them.
I just want to pause on this exact phrase for a second. Yet you have the strength to lead a worthy life, despite the gaps, despite the vulnerabilities, despite the painful mistakes. You still possess the profound strength required to live a life of total worth and meaning. I mean, wow, that is just such an inspiring, deeply forgiving way to look at ourselves, isn't it? And that brings us to section 3, the architecture of self-worth. And this brilliantly illustrates how the whole shebang comes together. There is such a beautiful symmetry to these two pillars. Humility is really about the mind, identifying ignorance and rectifying your intellect to improve your self-worth. Self-esteem, on the other hand, is about the spirit and the human condition, accepting human error and vulnerabilities to build the strength to live worthily. Both of these require us to drop the act. Both require us to ditch those false narratives. When you combine an honest mind with an honest acceptance of your human flaws, man, you create a deeply grounded, totally authentic life.
So, what are our key takeaways from this explainer? What can you actually apply today? First, start by bravely identifying your areas of ignorance. Second, when you learn something new, willingly allow yourself to rectify your intellect. Third, fully accept your human gaps and vulnerabilities without any shame. Fourth, learn from the mistakes you are absolutely going to make. And finally, use all of this to just become a little bit better every single day.
I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap things up today. Are you ready to let go of false narratives and build humble self-worth? Are you ready to stop pretending you know it all and just let go of this idea that you have to be perfect to be worthy? I really hope this exploration has shown you that true strength actually lies in embracing your vulnerabilities. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.